So it's Thursday, August 30th, 2012. I'm walking down Lincoln, heading towards the Starbucks at Lincoln and the 5 freeway. I'm avoiding the Starbucks nearby at Anaheim and Oak because of my friend that doesn't want to stop talking to me. And I see this green Toyota Camry pass by near the Jack in the Box there on Lincoln, just before Harbor. And that's normally kind of an interesting event, and it became even more interesting when the following happens. And this little Camry drive-by is at 9:27 a.m. So he passes by, and I'm continuing, and then you can see a fire truck making a right turn onto Harbor, and then it's followed up in a small bit of time by an Anaheim police vehicle in a minute, second or so. And there he goes. So green Toyota Camry, followed about 2 minutes later by the fire truck and the Anaheim police. And the context again is that I can go for hours and not see another police vehicle, etc., except for in these little harassment maneuvers. I got to Starbucks near Lincoln and 5, no other police vehicles on the way. And then I noticed a message on my cell phone from Only Cremations in Newport Beach, California, that Sebastian's ashes were ready for pickup. That was my pet that had recently passed away on August 25th. So I decided to go and pick him up. So we're walking back towards Harbor and Lincoln on Lincoln, and I passed the Anaheim High School, which is where I had attended the last Anaheim City Council meeting, the emergency meeting. And just past there's a florist that I had kind of window shopped at on the day I went to the Anaheim Council meeting. And noticed that there was a white vehicle there. It said Community Services. I thought it was a police vehicle, but who knows. Anyway, I just noted it just in case. And then, sure enough, a few seconds later, you notice this ambulance blaring down Lincoln with sirens blazing behind a truck. And you see, instead of going around the truck, it's kind of forcing the truck to move to the right and heading towards me, in a sense. What was interesting about that is that I believe it was the day before or so that I had put up the OC Sheriff's video talking about the truck that had pulled into my lane on the 5 freeway near Culver and 5 northbound one day. And this truck was roughly the size of the truck that pulled into my lane that day. So that was interesting. This little community services vehicle car just past the Anaheim High School where the emergency meeting was at, followed by an ambulance, the type of truck that hit me. And then something interesting happens next as I'm crossing Harbor Boulevard in Lincoln. The community services vehicle pops up right at that the Anaheim police vehicle had passed by earlier in the morning, and this occurs at roughly 11:43 a.m. So I'm crossing the street, and in a second or so, bingo, the community services vehicle passes by. I don't know if it's the same vehicle or a different vehicle, but right at the same spot where the Anaheim police officer had drove by earlier. So I thought that was an interesting coincidence. Same vehicle that was at the florist, followed seconds later by a ambulance, followed seconds later by a truck, and then again the same community services vehicle at the same spot as the Anaheim police vehicle earlier that morning. So as I was waiting for the bus going down Harbor towards Adams, heading to Newport Beach to pick up Sebastian's ashes. We had the classic stunt that's been pulled dozens of times, if not over 100 times by now, where can sit there at the bus stop forever, and then either a minute or two before the bus arrives, or right as the bus is arriving, or literally as I'm getting on the bus, you would have the appearance of an Orange County police vehicle, whether that was Anaheim or Garden Grove police vehicle. This sort of stunt occurred numerous times as I would wait at the corner of Euclid and Chapman, waiting for my wife to arrive from work, usually in the evenings. And so I just wanted to document that. This particular scenario occurred at 12:14 p.m. again at the corner of Harbor and Lincoln. And it's kind of boring. I'm actually keeping the entire segment rolling, and you'll see that the bus arrives here, I think it's less than 2 minutes later. So anyway, this is sort of, like I said, I've said it in previous videos, this was kind of a favorite technique used often on the corner of Euclid and Chapman as I was waiting for my wife to arrive. Well documented, by the way, with photographs and videotape. It would also occur on Euclid and Garden Grove Boulevard often as well. Anyway, in a few seconds you'll see there's just one more bus along Lincoln, and then pretty soon you'll see that the bus I was waiting for arrived. My wife is currently using our one vehicle that we own, so we'll just let that go. And then basically we hopped on this bus, traveled from Harbor and Lincoln to Harbor in Anaheim, and just past I guess that's the 405 freeway. On the trip there, I caught on the corner of my eye a Garden Grove, probably, I'm not too sure, four-wheel drive police vehicle waiting at the red light on Harbor and Garden Grove Boulevard. And Garden Grove Boulevard in Euclid is just off of the street where my dog's veterinarian was at. So that was kind of interesting, and continued to travel along Harbor until we jumped off just before Harbor and Adams. And at Harbor and Adams we find, I believe it was an Orange County Sheriff's vehicle driving by as I was walking along towards Adams to catch the cross street bus going along Adams. And the little appearance at Garden Grove Boulevard occurred at 12:49 p.m. and then the OC Sheriff's vehicle at 1:21 p.m. at Harbor and Adams. From the journey from Harbor and Adams to Birch and Dove in Newport Beach to pick up Sebastian's ashes, and then to return back to Harbor and Adams, it was almost a 2-hour affair. And as I'm off the bus at Harbor and Adams, approaching the corner of Harbor and Adams, right along where that patrol vehicle had passed by at 1:21 p.m., a Toyota Camry drives by at 3:14 p.m. at the corner of Harbor and Adams, roughly along the same spot that the patrol vehicle had passed by earlier on my way to the destination point. Well, I'm traveling back home along Harbor. Noticed on our right a traffic stop somewhere near our Harbor and Edinger at 3:42 p.m. with a white police officer. I arrive home walking along Broadway and at Broadway and South Clementine Street. I'm standing next to the post office, and this Anaheim police vehicle passes by. And so now at this point, I am closing in on arriving home. I actually enter my apartment building via the garage entrance on Broadway. So as I'm entering the garage, I enter the building, and I'm standing at the elevator waiting for it, and I'm literally standing there holding Sebastian's ashes when the elevator door opens, and I see this white lady with a little dachshund, kind of similar to my dog, standing in the elevator. And she doesn't come out, which was kind of odd, and I was already freaked out as it is. Here I am standing with Sebastian's ashes in my hands, and I see this lady in an elevator with a dachshund. She doesn't come out on the ground floor. I enter the elevator. She immediately asks me what floor I wanted. I just said, I'm fine with what you've hit there. And it turns out she gets off on the first floor, and she goes and picks up her mail at the mailbox, and then she proceeds to walk out the front door towards the garbage receptacle next to the doggy bag area there on Center Street, drops some mail in the trash can, and continues to walk down Center Street. So what was odd about this is besides that incident that I talked about at the third floor aerobics room one night with an Asian lady and a dachshund and a security guard, I had not seen any dachshunds here before. And being a former dachshund owner until my dog passed away, I'm pretty quick at noticing things like that. And this lady sort of pops up out of nowhere with a dachshund that I'd never seen before. She doesn't get off on the garage floor, so I figured, well, maybe she had gotten in on the first floor, went down to pick me up, and then she was going to proceed to either the second, third, or fourth floor. But she didn't do any of that. She actually jumped off on the first floor and then left the building and walked down Center Street. Anyway, I make note of this because here I am returning home in grief, holding my deceased dog's ashes, and this lady just happens to pop up right at that moment. I thought it was an interesting coincidence. I believe this occurred approximately around the 4:30 p.m. time frame. And also, you'll notice that there was one of the City Hall black security vehicles parked right there also, next to the trash can doggy bag area on Center Street.